At the beginning of the movie we see Dr. Letzi, a criminal psychologist named Miranda, who worked as a doctor in an asylum. Here she is talking to her patient Chloe. Chloe tells him that a devil often comes at night and exploits her, but Miranda does not believe what Chloe says, and because of this Chloe becomes very angry and starts attacking her. And this meeting ends here only. After this Miranda met his boss Doctor. She goes and meets Doug, who says that nothing can possibly happen to Chloe. I have been working on it for a long time but the case is not progressing. But her boss Doug, who is also her husband, explains to Miranda that Chloe has a different image of the world in her mind, and we have to solve her problems accordingly. Now after the conversation both of them kiss, but then another psychiatrist, Dr. Pete, arrives, and Doug has to go to another meeting. After this, Miranda goes to her office and starts working on Chloe's case. When it is evening, she goes swimming in the facility's pool, and while going home from there, she also greets the security man Dong. Now because it is raining, Pete carries Miranda to her car with his umbrella, where during our conversations we come to know that Pete likes Miranda. Well, now Miranda leaves to go home alone, but because of a sinkhole on the way, the police suggest him not to go through that route, so Miranda started going through another path, which went through the middle of the forest. But as soon as she crosses the bridge, she sees a woman on the way. To save him, she turns the car completely. Now Miranda quickly gets out of the car to see the woman, but then sees that she has a deep injury in her chest. Now Miranda thinks of helping him, but then the girl and Miranda's body starts to catch fire, and this scene cuts right here. Now when Miranda opens her eyes, she finds herself locked in her own asylum. She gets very scared and starts screaming, due to which the staff there comes and calms her down. And then Dr. Pete comes in to talk to him alone. Pete tells that he has been here for the last 3 days. Pete asks him what he remembers about the last time. Miranda tells that she was going home and bumped into a girl, after which her eyes are opening today. Pete tells us that nothing of the sort happened. Actually, Doug has been murdered, and his suspect is Miranda. Now on hearing this, Miranda starts attacking him in anger. For this reason the staff has to come there. Now the next day Miranda is with the same patient who she used to treat, but he also meets Chloe. Now Chloe meets him and says that now you will understand how it feels when people do not believe in you. Before leaving, she hands Miranda a newspaper, in which the news of Doug's death and Miranda's accusation is published. Now that very night Miranda feels that there is someone outside her cell, and then he finds "not alone" written on the glass of the cell. Seeing this she gets scared and sits in the corner. Now when he opened his eyes it was morning. Just then a nurse comes and gives him medicine. After this, she goes to take bath with all the patients. Only then she sees the same girl from the bridge. The girl comes closer and attacks Miranda's hand and starts writing something. Due to this, all the girls nearby panic and start running away. Now after bringing Miranda back to consciousness, the doctors treat her, and that knife is also taken from his hand. That means Miranda had cut her own hand. Now after some time, Pete comes and tells her that Miranda is still not able to think properly, and during the conversation, Miranda asks him about their relationship. On this, Pete tells her that he likes her, but then suddenly Miranda says that now that Doug is no more, we can both be together. But Pete tells her that Miranda is currently his patient, who he just wants to help. Now that day Miranda met another psychiatrist, Phil, who had just become the head of this hospital. She asks him to handle her case, but Phil refuses. Now the next day Miranda's lawyer Teddy comes to meet her and tells her that the hearing will be held next week. All the evidence is against Miranda, but Teddy tells her to continue pretending to be crazy because she can easily get away with it. But Miranda gets angry. She says, "I'm not crazy, and I haven't killed anyone." But no one was believing what he said. After which Doug's best friend and police officer Ryan arrives there. He starts investigating Miranda, but in the middle he loses his temper and starts asking her loudly why she killed her husband Doug. Miranda herself gets scared when she sees the picture of the crime scene, but at this moment Miranda's hand starts bleeding, and when she opens the bandages, it says "not alone," and the same thing was written at the crime scene also. Seeing this, she starts freaking out. Now Miranda starts remembering some things in her sleep, but all these things were in the opposite direction. She sees that earlier that night he had killed Doug with an axe, after which she went to the bridge to help the girl. But as soon as he touched the girl, both of their bodies suddenly caught fire. That means that girl had possessed Miranda. Now the next day, Pete brings Miranda back to the head of the facility, Dr. Phil, where she sees a photo of a girl. Rather, it was the same girl from the bridge who was attacking Miranda till now. She tells that this girl is the same girl whom she saw that night, But Dr. Phil tells him that this is not possible, because this girl is his daughter Rachel, who had committed suicide 4 years ago. Now Miranda could not understand what was happening to her. Now that night Miranda feels someone's presence again. That is why she asks that thing, "Are you Rachel's ghost? If yes, then open this door." And surprisingly the door opens. Now Miranda secretly goes to Pete's office, but then the computer turns on, in which we see Pete searching about Rachel being killed, and then in another tab he sees footage of another ward of the hospital, in which Rachel's ghost is visible. Miranda remembers that Chloe was also confined in the same ward, therefore Miranda also starts going to the same ward. As Miranda approaches Chloe's cell, she sees a man attacking her who had a tattoo of a burning girl on his chest. Miranda gets scared and runs away, and the guards catch her. Now the next day Miranda apologizes to Chloe, because she never trusted Chloe when she was a doctor herself. Now after this Miranda is also locked in the same ward. Now that night suddenly Rachel's ghost comes and starts attacking Miranda. Now security comes to save him, but then Miranda steals the keys from them and runs away. And when the rest of the guards come to find her, she quietly hides inside the water. Rachel scares him even in the water, but because of the water his scream does not come out. After a short time she hides in the lobby and security officer Dong helps her escape. Now Miranda starts going to her home, but Rachel's ghost comes and scares him, due to which he survives the accident. Now somehow she takes a turn and her car moves towards the sinkhole, blowing the entire barrier, but his car stops before falling. Now somehow she reaches home in an injured condition. As soon as she goes inside the house, she starts having visions of that day, how she had brutally killed Doug. Now after this she goes to her bedroom, where she finds herself in the bathtub, and as soon as she wakes up she starts screaming in a strange way, and we see that Rachel has possessed his body, and it was because of his influence that she killed her husband. He feels really bad that poor Doug got killed. That's why she starts crying after taking his picture. But then someone whispers a place called Velo Creek in his ear. Then Miranda remembers that Doug used to have a property at a place called Velo Creek, where he used to go sometimes. So the very next day she also goes there. There he finds rolls of many cameras. When she turns on the light, she is stunned to see this, because there was a very big setup there. There was a bed on which there were big chains and a camera was placed in front of it. That means something was going wrong there, and everything was recorded on camera. She checks the camera file and finds out that Doug was forcing himself on some girl. Seeing all this she is very surprised that her husband was like this. But then he hears someone coming, that's why she tries to hide. But then the police officer points his gun at him. Now Miranda goes to tell him something, when someone comes from behind and catches Miranda. And here we see that this was the same girl whom we saw in the video. This girl was kidnapped by Dong here 3 weeks ago. Now after some time this news creates panic everywhere. Now the chief of this entire area is Ryan, who is also Doug's friend. He was still holding Miranda, but then Pete and Teddy arrive and defend Miranda, because now Doug's actions have come to light. Miranda is justified in killing Doug, and it was because of Miranda that girl was also saved. But Ryan is still angry at Miranda. Now at the police station he is visited by Dr. Phil, who himself was quite surprised to know the truth about Doug. Then Miranda tells that Rachel did not kill herself, but she was also Doug's victim. It is because of Rachel that all these things have come to light, but Miranda still couldn't solve the mystery of Not Alone, so she asks Pete for help. She had a feeling there was more involved than Doug, but Pete doesn't believe in this ghost story of Miranda. Later Pete is in his office researching the tattoo Miranda was talking about. Then Police Chief Ryan comes to meet Miranda, and he tells her that he trusts her completely. Ryan asks her to tell him who the other killer is. What do you know about him? Miranda explains that whoever the killer is has a tattoo of a burning girl on his chest, and Miranda, using her psychiatrist's knowledge, starts telling the profile of that man, how tall he is, how powerful he is. And then we see Ryan starting to get a little uncomfortable. Now Miranda, being a psychiatrist, she notices that her facial expressions are not right, and the description he has given completely fits Ryan. That's why she starts running away, but then Ryan catches her. Now seeing the opportunity, Miranda pulls his shirt, and then we see that tattoo on his chest. Miranda runs away from there and goes to hide somewhere, so Ryan fires at Miranda with his gun, but the bullet accidentally hits the pipe and slowly the gas starts releasing. Now, while searching for Miranda, he starts telling that he and Dub used to catch the girls nearby and do very bad things to them, and Rachel herself was his first victim. He is about to catch Miranda, when suddenly he sees a shadow behind him, so Ryan goes after him and sees a girl behind the glass. He shoots at it, but as the glass breaks he sees Rachel's ghost there. Ryan gets very scared and starts firing bullets, and due to the gas, a huge fire starts there. And Ryan starts burning in that fire, and Miranda also shoots and kills him. Just then Peter arrives, who sees Rachel's ghost, and apologizes to Miranda, because earlier he had not trusted her for these things. Now because of all these things it is understood that both Doug and Ryan were in collusion. Because of this, Miranda killed both of them, and that is why Miranda is released after 1 year of imprisonment. We see that both Chloe and Miranda came out of the asylum. Chloe was also completely fine now. Chloe leaves after thanking Miranda for her help. While Miranda is going, she sees a child on the way, and suddenly a truck drives past it. And here we understand that now Miranda can see the wandering spirits. This means that now she will fight for the atrocities committed against them, and will get them justice.